Hello, I'm Kim Sumner, and I'm the gifted teacher in the Leslie County School District. A problem in the past, uh, that has been a challenge for most teachers. And for me, whether I was collaborating in a regular classroom with a regular classroom teacher or having a pull-out program with 4th through 8th graders, the challenge has always been to address the needs of all the students in the classroom, addressing the students on an individual basis. Were we meeting their individual needs? Were they, uh, you know, was anybody being left behind? And even those students that were absent, how were they going to make up the work? So uh, the modern classroom approach has given me the knowledge and support and the tools, to structure classes in a way that addresses all, the needs of all the students. And it just makes a better climate, for everyone. And I really, really think that this is the way to go in all school districts. This research-backed instructional model includes blended instruction. Students access the content through teacher-created videos. It also includes self-paced structures. Students control the pace of their own learning. And mastery-based grading. Students progress from one lesson to the next when they demonstrate mastery. And while I was working on this modern classroom project, they offered all the support and everything you needed to know how to make a quality video, and also how to create a self-paced classroom, and also how to set up mastery-based grading in your classroom. So these are the main components of the model. I chose entrepreneurship as my topic, and I designed all my lessons to go with a mini unit that I could use either with my middle school students or with high school students. The unit was titled It's Your Business, and the very first lesson that I designed was What is an Entrepreneur? When creating the lessons, we use a backward design approach. This approach involves instructional planning that begins with the end goal in mind. What is it we want the students to learn from this one particular lesson? And we begin there, and then we back up and think, now how are we going to see that they learn it? So at the end of every lesson, when a student feels like they're ready, they will take a mastery check. But we begin with the mastery check in designing. And you can see an example of one of my mastery checks on the screen there. After we've developed our mastery check, we're ready to create our instructional video. And this was actually the most difficult part for me, because I'm struggling right now, because I really have a problem looking into this camera and speaking, because every time I replay it and look at it, it's awful, and I want to start over. So this is kind of difficult for me. It's a challenge, but the more I do it, it seems like the easier it gets. There's all kinds of things you can use out there to create your instructional video, and most of you all are probably already familiar with that. During the time when during the pandemic, when we had hybrid schedules, or when students were home and we were having to teach from school, Google Meet was just the norm. So this is nothing difficult for most teachers out there. I'm on this presentation right now in which I'm speaking. I'm using the PowerPoint record. The new version of PowerPoint that I have has a record option on it where you can make videos. Also, Edpuzzle is a very good, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's a good way to enhance your videos, your presentations by inserting a video maybe in a presentation. With Edpuzzle, you can put the video in there, stop it, pause it, ask some questions about it, and it's really good. It enhances your videos tremendously. Also, it is very important to keep track of student progress. If you have all students working at their own pace, you must be able to track what they do every day. And there is an example there that's included, and I'm not sure, it looks, I don't know, it just looks a little overwhelming to me. I think I would come up with something a little more simple than that. But it's important that we're able to keep track of where the students are. And the way we do that is through the mastery checks that they take at the end of every lesson. If we get, we can do those. Now, I designed mine as Google Forms. You know, I was anticipating possibly the kids not being at school, maybe missing more school due to the pandemic or whatever. But I did mine on Google Forms. You don't have to do that. You can do them on paper. 5 questions, 6 questions, I don't know, however many, you know, just a few questions to see if they mastered the skill or the content of that one lesson. And that's how you track them. If they made 100 on the mastery check, then they're ready to go on to the next lesson. If they did not do well on the mastery check, then they have to go back to the material and go back and collaborate with partners and, you know, re-look at the material. Watch the video again. Maybe look at their assignments that they did. Collaborate, talk about it with a partner. And then when they feel ready, then they go and do a second mastery check. It's not exactly like the first one, but it's a second one. And if they pass that one, they're ready to move on. I'm going to close this presentation talking a little bit about the value of mastery-based grading. These points come from the article written by one of the co-founders of the Modern Classrooms Project, How to Set Up Mastery-Based Grading in Your Classroom. And one thing, we have to realize just how valuable that it is. How valuable it is to have a mastery-based grading. One of the benefits of it is that it prevents lingering skill gaps. Students, instead of, you know, going, like, say, from day to day to lesson, they don't move on to the next concept until they've shown mastery of say, today's lesson. And that's why it's so important to have a self-paced classroom setting. It also builds student confidence, because when students are given time to master the content or to reach proficiency, you know, it makes them, you know, realize that, you know, hey, I can learn. And then it prepares students for the real world. According to Kareem, he says that sometimes, you know, that maybe in the past, he said that he was kind of easy on his kids in the beginning. And I'm sure we all were when we first started as educators. Sometimes we spoon feed them so much that they really don't have that productive struggle, you know, to help them to learn something permanently. So having your classroom set up in the self-paced structures and using mastery-based grading, it prepares students for the real world, because they're given that little bit of, they have to experience a little bit of that productive struggle, you know, to go on. And so, you know, that's what makes this a wonderful program. And I highly recommend it. And I would say that most districts, our district, I would love for them to pilot it maybe and start with the math classes, begin there, and go out to other areas and other subjects. But I'm so thankful, and I really am grateful that I have found this modern classrooms project, because it just, I don't know the word I'm trying to find. It just lets me know that everything I used to think, or everything I used to think, everything that I have thought about education and learning and teaching has been, I don't know the word. I'm at a loss for the word. I can't think of it, but it's been supported. And I know that I was on the right track, and I know that I've been right. And I'm just so glad to see that something's come out now to really promote this and to give teachers an opportunity to learn new ways to teach.